Okay. Hello. I don't think we need to do it again.
Okay, HDM?
Yeah. That one was the textbook that talked about assessments, right?
The informal assessments.
And
Specifically, we were talking about informal.
Yeah.
Which I feel like we've done, or at least I've
Yeah.
done during my small group time.
Well, because I was looking at the solemn?
Yeah.
I was looking at that because I was really confused, and then I went through all of the documents that she had up for it because I was like, I don't get it. But then when I read through it and understood it, I was like, oh, I already know this information on my case study student. Like, I don't actually have to do like a formal interview.
Yeah. I thought it was important, like an important takeaway from, kind of like a broad takeaway, I guess. From the HCM. Oh yeah, that probably is probably loud. Was that just to start off with, like, I guess the social and cultural norms is like one of the first things that we need to consider when we do the informal and formal assessments, because I like the quote. It was like, anytime we seek to assess language, we must understand not only what our tests can tell us, but also more significantly what they cannot. And I thought that was like really important, just because like we are so focused on like, you know, the data that we get from it, or like their answers, and you're like, oh, what does this tell me and stuff. But like we don't really focus usually, I guess, on what we like the assessments don't tell us. And also it like when it talked about like when a student doesn't look like you in the eye or something like that, and you're like, come on, look me in the eye, like talk to me or something, like that can just be very, very like culturally different in that way. So I think it's just like that was one of the important takeaways, like a broad.
Was that the part, because I sometimes get the article and the chapters confused because I read them like right after each other. But was that the one that was talking about like if you do interviews with the kids or with the parents, then, or like take that form of assessment where you actually like sit down and talk with them, then things that they say might not tell you everything you need to know?
Yeah.
Because,
So like,
they might leave stuff out because they don't realize it's important, or
like they don't understand the question, or like they don't want to answer the question.
Which is why you also need to do like the observation types of assessments. Yeah.
Which is what we're doing in the classroom.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just like really important to have both of those. There's both observations and like interview type things, just because like you get more of an idea of that child's ability.
I really liked how, like, I don't remember if this was in HCM or if this was in the other reading, the Bix and Cal assessment.
That was in HCM.
Yeah, HCM.
Okay, that's what I thought. And I really liked how that kind of rounded out the solemn assessment. I saw a lot of like similarities and like differences, especially with like academic language, because CALPS works with academic, but solemn doesn't really. It covers like more conversational English. And I just kind of liked how they complemented each other, and I think I'll probably use that one just because I really liked how it was set up, and I really liked all the different like contexts it was in. Like, and I was like, wow, that's really nice, and I thought it was organized really well too.
Yeah.
So.
I was just slightly confused with it. Do you put the mark in the bubble whether they're L1 or L2 in that section? Or is that just a form of observation? Like, you know what I mean? There's little bubbles next to it.
I took it as like, were they fulfilling the L1 or L2 requirements?
Yeah.
That's what I took it as. And
so
then,
you
would mark
and then
it.
you choose.
Yeah,
you would mark
which
based on your like assessment.
Okay, so it's more of just like keeping track of assessments, not an actual form of assessment.
But like, even though we knew,
it is its own form of assessment.
Yeah.
Oh.
If we knew what are like, because I know some of them, we don't have any L1s, but they perform L1 in that specific, subcategory or whatever. That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay to pull out.
Because in some areas they might be
L2,
but in most areas, if they're L1, they probably would stay L1.
Because you also round down. when
Yeah,
you do
but
this
every
stuff.
student is different with like what they have practiced more and stuff, and so I think that
Or
I
what's
just really
easier,
liked
yeah.
that. Yeah, for some reason I don't know why, but I thought that was handy. And there was LM. Oh, sorry, not wrong class. Roads.
That was just that whole article on. Okay, I was reading that and all I could think of was not the interviews, but the meetings you have with parents for SPED. Like that's the only thing I could think of when I was reading.
We were going over it at like the exact same time.
Mm-hmm. So I was like, wow, this is extremely similar. Like, is this what I'm reading? I'm very confused. Like, am I actually reading a IEP meeting? Like, but
Yeah, I mean it wasn't IEP, just IEP, but
Yeah.
it was also
More in general.
Yeah.
But there was the one part that I really thought was interesting where like don't make any assumptions when I don't know if you guys read that part where the lady was like, oh yeah, I gave birth or telling about giving birth when the child was also adopted. Like I don't know. I thought that was really interesting because it's like you really should not make any assumptions whatsoever, even if they seem completely valid. Like, no assumptions. Except for then I went to the bottom of the article and I was reading through all the questions they suggested and I was like, are we, like, when is this actually used? Because those are some really interesting questions. Like, they were, like, really, like, how was your pregnancy? And stuff like that. And I just didn't think teachers asked the parents those kind of questions.
Yeah, I don't know when that would be.
I feel like it may depend on the context. I mean, if you how close you
And,
you
like,
get to
yeah.
the parent.
How close and like, I mean, if they're pregnant, I might ask, oh, how's your pregnancy? And if I've been pregnant, I mean, that's just like next conversation. But I don't know if that's
it was
like
for
a
an actual
question.
sit-down interview thing,
Yeah.
not for just, like,
I don't know
getting to
when you would do that.
Maybe if you get to know.
Maybe that's part of it.
Yeah, get to know like the child, and you can ask about their, like how they were raised, and then make your way backwards down to that point. But I mean,
I just didn't understand what this interview process with the parent was necessarily for.
I wish I had like
I
a
think it's
video.
more in general.
I wish I had like a video. Like, this is what it's supposed to look like.
Because I just thought it was.
That might be a good mini question.
Is there a video?
No, like, in what context are these questions?
7 minutes.
Like, I understand that, like, the context is the interview, but, like, I felt like there were a lot of questions where I was like, okay, well,
What is this even for?
I feel like that really based itself off of something that I don't know about, or, like, something that I can't relate to because I've never been in that situation before.
I just don't even really understand what context you'd be asking the parents those questions in an interview process. Like, I understand if, like, oh, it's a meeting and you're just, like, talking. But, like, this was an actual, like, schedule an appointment to sit down and have an interview. And then you go through these questions. I thought those were really weird questions.
Yeah. Is it, I mean, would it be more for just like the younger kids, like kindergartners? Because they're just, they're 5.
Yeah.
Like,
I have no idea.
I mean, because that would be, like, one of the only backgrounds for the kid other than, like, when they were 2, 3, and 4. Like,
Yeah.
how's your pregnancy?
But it is entering into kind of like a personal level in a way.
yeah.
Maybe it's like some sort of cultural, like, not that the question is cultural, but that you're questioning so that you can see kind of how their culture is in regards to kids.
I just feel like it could be worded differently.
I think it could too. I just
Well,
I was just confused.
For the example that they had beforehand, it seemed almost like it was to find out, like so it looked like this child was misbehaving and they wanted background on, like, they're like, oh, the fact that the baby was taken from his mom right when he was born and then she readopted could have, like, attachment issues or something like that.
Huh.
So maybe it's only used if you have a child who's, like, has really, what is it called? Like, behavioral issue. Like,
I just feel like it would be it's a sensitive topic. Like,
Uh-huh.
I don't know, like if you think, I was just thinking, like, well, what if, like, the kid had, or the mom had, like, some traumatic experience or something during her pregnancy and, like, something,
Why bring that up?
Like, yeah,
Yeah.
like, why, I don't know, like, not that, like, I've ever experienced that, but it's just, like,
Yeah.
I don't know, I feel like some, like, people go through pregnancy really
Yeah.
I feel like
well,
maybe
and some don't, and
Yeah.
depending on cultures, like, how they, like,
Yeah, and like how like some cultures that
yeah.
like it's too personal to ask here. It's probably way too personal to ask in other cultures
And
too.
I feel like they wouldn't ask that at an IEP meeting either.
No.
You know, like it's.
I don't think you would need to, but
I just
then
didn't.
again.
I just don't understand
Yeah,
why we
I
need to
understand
either. You know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What else? Let's see.
It didn't really. The article didn't really like change anything about how I want to like interview my student, just because I felt like it was way more like schedule something with the parent and the student. But
It was
I'm
kind
not
of
doing
hard
that.
for me to see my student in the article because it always used parent.
Yeah.
I like have a personal like language barrier, I think, when it comes, or like word barrier when it comes to like someone always saying parent and then I have to think of a student. Like for some reason that's just so hard for me to transfer information. I don't really know why.
Well, it's probably because like we're in between
Yeah.
right now.
I mean,
Like,
Yeah.
it was also kind of nice to also just see how to deal with a parent in a
Yeah.
way.
But I'm not gonna be talking my case studies.
Because it was different from like what we did in SPED when we had to like make those pretend parent phone calls. At least we got to see how an interview process with a parent kind of works in a way, or to start like seeing it.
Instead of just being thrown in. Call parents.
well, I think like interviews, whether they're with a child or with a parent, like are always more difficult. I think like with a parent, I think they'll be more challenging than interviewing a child because we'll like have more experience and everything with working with kids. But it's just like I know my mom still to this day doesn't like she doesn't like making those phone calls home like to parents saying like okay yeah your kid's screwing up like like you need to do something about it or just like letting me know or whatever like she still doesn't like to do that just because parents can be like really tricky to like it's a really tricky balance.
Don't know how to react. Like,
yeah, and so I think like the interview questions that they offered like are good like starting points, and I think that just like making sure that we put our own not twist but like a personality I guess into it will make it like
And like hopefully
better.
we would have already like met the parents like at the beginning of the year and can like feel out and like ask like, hey, what's the best way for me to like confront me about things? I feel like I would want to ask that because everyone's different.
Ask what?
And I feel like adults know, hopefully, at that point, like, how they, like, just set up a question in, like, the first meeting with parents. That's like, hey, if something happens, like, one, how is the best way for me to contact you? And two, how do you like to be told about stuff like
I
that?
am a nice person.
Like, yeah,
like,
I
do
want
this.
to mean really well. Yeah, I would just bring it up while the child isn't doing anything. Like, while it's not actually a problem. I feel like they're a lot more open to, like, tell you that stuff early on. And maybe some aren't. That's okay.
I thought it was important how the article talked about making sure to find a like place where the parent is comfortable for meeting, and how like it's really important to meet in person. Like if worse comes to worse, you can do it over the phone, but that's really not a good option just because you can't like see body language and facial expressions and connect like that. I thought that was important. Yeah, like whether it be at their home or in a coffee shop, or like make those adjustments to make the parent as comfortable as possible.
Yeah, I feel like this kind of goes off of like last week on how we, in that video where the parents didn't really like pick up the phone and stuff and start to connect with their parents. So here it's more of just like the starting off point to meeting with parents, like making sure that you build that kind of like connection with the parents and that you're able to communicate with them. Whereas if you don't build it, it's gonna be difficult. It's gonna be a difficult school year. I know.
Yeah. Well, and also I think it's just really important to like plan your interviews, like really plan them and script them out almost.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like the before part, so that the during part goes smoother and like you're not gonna be able to predict everything that might happen.
Preparing for.
But yeah.
Yeah. Maybe like once you teach for a really long time, you'll be able to do it better without it. But like the first time, I'd be like, so how are you?
Yeah. And also like after too, like when it talked about after interviewing them, just to like kind of do that. What's it called? Debrief. It's like when you talk to them again, or like say thank you.
Just like
You can send them an email or a phone.
Just like, oh yeah, thank you.
What is that? A follow up.
Follow-up, yeah.
I couldn't figure that word out. To have that follow up, I think is like really important too, just because like you want to make sure that it matters to them, and I think that goes along with their student as well. And like hopefully we'll be able to see them again after interview, because I haven't done mine yet, but just like being able to say like, hey, like I really appreciated you sitting there and talking with me and stuff like that, just because like that can be stressful for them too, like or not stressful maybe, but like
I know
anxiety,
it will be from my case study.
Anxious, like
I know that like my interview process.
Because
my case study will be.
Because they get so
Interesting.
curious. They're like, why are you doing this? You know, why do you have to do this? I mean, it's,
Why are you here?
yeah.
We went to their class and they're like, what are you doing here?
Yeah, my case study student, and she has her best friend who's also in our group. They were just staring at me the whole time. They like look at me and like look at each other, like giggle, and look at me.
Yeah, one of our girls, we walked in, she's like, what are you doing here? We're like, we're gonna come see your classroom. She's like, wait, what did she do? She like,
Which girl are you talking about? Oh, okay.
in the hallway, remember? And she just
yeah.
was like, why? And like, remember with all her friends, and then they all started laughing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know, did you guys feel like you like learned a lot from that article?
I personally learned from it. It's just like I don't know if I'd use every single thing, with my case study, of course. But I mean, like some of the questions and just like the techniques, I guess you could say, I do plan on using, even if it wasn't my case study. If it were like a job or something, I would like to do that too.
I think it's kind of cool because we can mix and match so much with that and make it our own that way.
Yeah.
I just like the textbook a lot because it has so many different like worksheets and examples and assessments and so many things you can just like take right out of the book. It's crazy. Like I just flip through pages of it. I'm like, wow, I can use all of this.
Yeah, that was pretty nice, and it made it more real in a sense, I think. And instead of just like reading like, you'll do this first, then you do that next, and then like to actually see like what you fill out or what questions you ask. It's just like like you can kind of almost see yourself doing it. Well, at least for me, like I can just be like, okay, well,
or like handing it to like helping a kid through it.
Yeah.
I don't remember what all session 7 has. You have it up.
Yeah.
We're supposed to talk about our
Case study and family engagement project.
Yeah.
Which I had a couple questions about the family engagement project because I was looking at it and I started getting kind of nervous because when I was watching all the stuff that she had up for it, like the video and the assignment and everything, I didn't see, like I saw where it said the other option was you can make your own, but I didn't see anything like for that to explain it.
Family engagement?
Yeah. Because, like, the other, like, if you were to go, she listed all the questions that you would ask and observe and stuff, but if you were making your own, I didn't see.
When I was reading it, there was, like, option 1, option 2, option 3, and, like, option 2 was the one where you make your own.
Yeah.
And then in that it said to still answer the questions, just answer them
as if you
went to your own thing. I just don't completely understand like how the layout of that is supposed to look.
I don't have it in front of me. I think that was probably what's hard. But when I read it, made sense to me. I just can't picture it right now.
I feel like it's similar to like if you were to go though.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I also could picture it. I mean, I've had experiences doing family like engagement nights or like reading nights kind of thing, so I can kind of have a sense. So I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty sure once we see it, it'll make.
Do you think I could do something where like I don't think they're having any more. So Sterling Meadows has a lot of like family engagement night things. But I don't think that they're gonna like have anything right now. But what if I like called them and asked or like said like talked to them about those questions without me actually going to it?
No, it's an
Like,
idea.
would that work?
I mean, I would ask her when we go in on.
But
Or do you would have to email her?
Isn't it 2 then?
Oh
Let's
yeah,
do that
just
today.
kidding.
It said on there that you can talk to a coordinator of a family engagement night.
Yeah.
About the questions.
Okay.
So I don't see why not. I think you might still have to make your own.
Yeah, I can make my own, but at least those questions could be answered with a real life situation
And you
rather
can
than me
incorporate
making
it
up.
with your,
Yeah, and I could like
events.
say that like I could use some of their stuff for my event.
Yeah.
Just because I had planned originally to do it on like as like make my own, but then when I actually looked at it, I was like, oh wait, maybe I should have just gone to one, but now it's too late. So.
I'm looking it up right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that was like our last meeting before we had that period of online stuff. But she was like, a lot of them are done.
Yeah.
So. But I don't mind. It's kind of like a creative thing to do though, because
Mhm.
something we
Yeah, I
don't
don't
have
mind
to,
it.
something we don't have to at least take our time to drive to, and
Yeah, I don't mind the creative part. I still need like a layout. Like I need some explanation. I can't just like.
Well, there was a video about it. Did you watch the video?
Yeah, it was a video.
Where's the
only
video
talk
located? I've only seen the.
on the family engagement
Is
like,
that-
page.
oh,
Like she has
okay.
a module for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I watched the video and it just talked about like doing it the way where you go and visit.
I think I'm just gonna.
Didn't
do it
explain
like that.
anything about the.
I feel like I might incorporate option 1 to option 2.
So
You're
going
gonna
to
go
one
see one?
and
Pretend.
writing about them?
Well, because I've gone to one, so
Oh,
I
okay.
can kind of incorporate what
Well, then
I've
I'll
seen.
incorporate 2 and 3.
Yeah. As long as I feel like as long as we fulfill,
The requirement? Yeah. So I want to do a Halloween engagement night. I think that'd be
Maybe that would be.
My
really
school
fun.
did a bunch of Halloween engagement nights, and they did like fair engagement, like afternoons, nights. They went into the night, but those were just so fun.
Really.
Yeah, those were like my favorite some days. Because
But
That is
Halloween's
Halloween not
not-
culturally
You
relevant.
have to be careful with Halloween.
that's true.
It's not everyone celebrates. There's
Do
kids
fall
that have Carl
festival.
Kosher. Remember in the fall?
Oh yeah, that's true. They didn't celebrate
Because we
Halloween.
were out on Halloween.
My Halloween parties were called like fall festival or fall celebration.
Mine
We had
called,
spring festivals. We had like spring
That's
fairs.
cool.
Like
I think
every
it'd be
year.
cool
My
to
mom
do a
called it
science
Oktoberfest.
I think it would
Really?
be
Like
so.
science, little science experiments that you can do.
Yeah,
I
that
think
was-
that would be fun.
For me, I was planning on like doing discovery days, which is focused more on science, just because we don't really have. I feel like growing up, I never really had the science experience.
Yeah, it's not really
Yeah.
in elementary school all that much. They don't like focus. on
Other than
science.
like the 5th grade science fair or whatever.
Yeah.
Like we had a 5th grade science
I
fair and that
know
was about it. And we did. I don't think we had like any science classes.
I remember in 1st grade we did reports on like we each got an animal to do
Yeah.
a report on.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you do science, but it's not until like 6th grade that you do
Science.
Like so,
It's like
6th grade, and like I'm from still in elementary school, but like it's not until the older grades that you start to do like, oh, here it's some gravel and some sand, like put them together, like what happens? Oh, it makes a mixture. Like you kind of start to get into that like chemistry part of it,
Yeah.
but it's not.
The actual like, experiment.
Which
part
is funny
not-
because I've been talking to my little cousins are in 2nd and 5th grade right now, and they go to a school that's from K-8, and
That's a like Alan.
yeah, it's like Allen. and they do they have like teachers for different things. So they have like a homeroom teacher who like takes them to some different stuff, and they have a literacy teacher, a PE teacher, a math teacher, and
second grade?
like all the grades have this.
Oh my.
A math teacher and a science teacher. So they have like a science class, and they go and they do like science experiments and like do science reports.
Like even just like little like concoctions, like what was it you that did like the
with the
the
bag.
bag, yeah.
I want to do something like that. Like I feel like that would be fun.
It was so fun. We did it first, like, and it was kind of like I don't know.
Just like sat there.
Yeah, it like inflated, but it got all the way up and then it didn't explode. And it was like, oh, thanks for that.
Yeah.
And then we did one where like we didn't use a paper towel and just did baking soda and vinegar like straight up and like closed the bag and put it on the ground. And that exploded.
Which our group loved.
But it
was like a rush. They were
Yeah.
like, one of them just like put it in there, like shook it because we were like, okay, make sure you like shake it up because you have to like mix like the baking soda and stuff, everything. Anyways, so she shakes it up, like zips it really quick, and just
she
like
threw
chucks
it.
and it just like
Oh, wow.
as soon as it hits the cement, it's just like it just like popped the bag. We're like, wait, you're not supposed to throw it.
Yeah.
It was like,
That was so fun.
That's good. See, I want to do something like that.
Yeah. I remember one time I did an experiment where you take grapes and you put them in different. You put it in like water and in salt water and like in vinegar or something, and they float different. Like, yeah, I don't know. So it was just like doing something like that where like it doesn't take a lot of materials, like, and families can just like engage with each other and like with other families and with the teachers at the same time.
Yeah.
It would be cool if like we had like different science stations and like the teachers were in charge of like a station. So like first grade had like a station, but then they could go on to all the different grades too. And so like you get to engage with the teacher in your class, but you also get to engage with other people because like if your students are gonna grow up in the grades.
And they're gonna meet me.
Yeah, you're gonna
teachers.
so you get to meet those teachers and you get to see
cool.
teachers that you might have already had.
Yeah, the activities that I want to incorporate into my discovery night thing is experiments that they can also do at home kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
That's cool.
Because I mean it's like accessible materials, like fun to do, easy to do. You know, do one like a Saturday or something when the parents have a day off. You know, like I feel like that'd be
Because that is
that's the direction
engaging,
I'm heading.
engaging families even outside of the family engagement.
Yeah.
So for when we create our own, so it's like, you know, based off what we've learned about family engagement and like community assets and everything like that, that's how you like kind of make you like pick kind of like a community. Find out what the interests and resources of your student's family can bring to the classroom and devise a sort of program that
So are we building it off our case study?
no, like you can just do it whatever you want.
I mean you like just
Yeah, but what does she mean by your student? We don't have a student.
Well, it would be like
It's based off of your case study student. It's supposed to be based off
If you make
off
your
your case study student. That's just like you're supposed to lay like base knowledge. It's like, oh okay, this is my case study student, so this is like my population.
Oh,
that I'm
yeah.
going for.
so it says
So my population
based
should
on
be
what
out.
you learned about the family engagement project. Design a program or initiative that would promote family engagement, taking into account the kind of student population you have. This could be taking into your consideration your case study student. So that's just an option.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to do,
but it's
your
like a
case study,
direction.
Yeah.
but like that's an option like that you could take. And then regarding the questions, is like the questions are like who benefits, like has there been any data collection, like and on why this particular program was formed, and like ongoing assessment and stuff like that. Like how does the district include families and communities? How are the families and community contacted to initiate the discussion?
So this is just all stuff that we're kind of making up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is like what you would like. You're kind of like your purpose.
Yeah.
Of
So
the
you're-
family. So you still. It says also discuss how you might address the questions below, like making your own family. engagement.
So you're basically like the coordinator of your own.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Like you're kind of just like taking on that role of like thinking of all the different aspects of creating a family night, as if you were like the principal or whoever for them.
Oh, it's not moving. Sorry.
What are you
Having
doing?
difficulty. I wasn't in the video, so I feel like I should move it. Oh, that didn't work at all. Never mind. Sorry.
You're gonna make her sad.
We just put it at the hours mark. Okay.
That's what I was trying to do, but the rubber was sticking.
Yeah. So that's
That should be fun.
What about presenting it? Do you guys have any ideas of like how you're gonna present it?
I mean, we're just presenting it within our little groups in
Is it
class.
us four?
I think so.
I think it would make sense to just, I mean, if you're making your own, to do a PowerPoint. Because that way you can, like, put in visuals, like, oh, this is what we want it to look like. This is,
Yeah.
Yeah. Or a Prezi.
Or present.
Yeah, I'm planning on doing maybe a PowerPoint.
I'm gonna probably end up doing a PowerPoint. I might try with a Prezi, but every time I try a Prezi, I always give up and go, no PowerPoint.
Yeah.
Same here.
Because I'm too much of like a perfectionist, so I want the Prezi to be like so perfect. Because if you put
Like
enough
Emily's
time,
Prezi.
Yeah.
if you
So
put enough
good.
time into it, they can be so good. But also, I don't want to put like so much time that's not necessary into the presentation.
Just making it like look pretty.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, not saying that we shouldn't make it look pretty, but
But the
we're
information
gonna
Make
is
it look pretty on PowerPoint.
way easier to make it look pretty on PowerPoint, yeah, sure.
Even though my own is creative.
Wait, so do we need to like think of all the activities that we're gonna be doing for the family engagement thing, or is it just like?
I mean, I would just answer the questions. The questions say to, like, do every single aspect, and then I would do every single aspect.
I just don't want to get docked points either.
well,
Yeah.
and she has those examples.
Yeah.
The examples are
Right.
like her version, like her first one was hers, right?
Mhm.
And it was pretty simple.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
The other, I think I looked at the second one, because I didn't look at. There were 3 of them, right? I didn't look at the third one.
Yeah.
There's 2 or
But they were
3,
pretty
yeah.
simple.
So.
Did you guys look at the art test that she put up on session 7?
I haven't looked at that yet, no.
That was pretty cool.
Was it good?
Yeah, really good.
That's cool. So for the, are we done with family engagement?
Yeah, I think we
Okay.
can put it to bed.
So for the case study assignment, so I understand like there's the first page of the PDF file and it has like all the requirements that we need to fill out.
Mhm.
So we're just fulfilling that in our explanation, like our big essay thing.
Yeah, you're just
Mhm.
supposed to answer all this.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't actually have to like, there's no actual worksheet for each of those things. You're just answering those things.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think
Yeah.
we have to turn in. Well, we have to turn in a
You have-
column.
Yeah, we have to turn in
And
our
some forms of
assessments. Yeah,
Mhm.
but that's because I saw one of them. The first one I opened had like 16 pages of like explanations and stuff like that.
What?
What?
Yeah, that was like the first one I opened up. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is like first quarter woodering all over again. Because remember how we had all those like papers to write, reflections? But then I opened a second one and it had like 6. So I was like up here to like down
Was there
here.
like several in one document?
I was just a long doc. I didn't really look over it.
Was it like all of the
I think they were.
reflections?
I think they just put it all in there. Like the person must have just been very descriptive.
They
which
must
was
have just
great.
taken a lot of assessments and put like
She,
them all separate.
she did all of them, and then she
Oh,
just.
Like, I think
Was
mine
it
would
actual
definitely be
assessment?
6 pages, but I don't know if I could make a 12-page without just, like, literally putting all of my
All I
reflections
saw,
in there.
Yeah, all I saw was writing,
reflections?
so I'm not sure which.
Like from each day.
Yeah.
But the reflections from each day aren't necessarily distinctly about our case study. They're just about the.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But are we still putting those in there?
I don't think
I
so.
don't think we
Okay.
are supposed to put those in.
Which questions are we supposed to be asking the ELL teacher?
I asked a lot about one.
Email ours about our own individual student.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I asked a lot of the questions like from the learning profile or language learning profile.
I asked questions about that, too.
And then what's the other one? There was another paper that I just like based off a lot of questions. And it was like I probably asked her, like the ELL teacher, I probably asked her the same questions or some of the same questions that I'll ask the student as well. But I kind of wanted to get her answer from it as well, just to compare, so that like, you know, in my case studies, when I say like, what kind of learner are you, or something, you know, ask what type
It's
of
like an
learner.
outside, like.
Yeah, so it's like that ELL teacher's been working with my student like all of our students all year.
Yeah.
So they know what type of learner they are.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like if this ELL student doesn't really understand like what that means yet, then like their answer is gonna be different than what they actually are.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just asked quite a few questions that were probably the same as interview questions that I'll ask my student as well. So
I did too. I also just went on the case study assignment, and like in each section they have like some stuff that you should be asking your student. And I just picked out some stuff that like I thought that I would have a hard time understanding from my student, or like that my student would have a hard time answering. And then I asked. I think I probably asked her like 8 questions, 7 questions.
the ELL.
Yeah. Some of them were pretty simple. Like, what does my student like to do outside of school? Because I've already asked my student that, but it was just volleyball. That's literally all she could like tell me about. So I wanted to ask her if there was like anything else.
Because I was just looking at it last night, and I was like looking at the main page, like the overview, and I was just like, okay, which one? Where do I go from here, kind of thing. So that's, thank you for breaking that down.
Yeah. For your case study student, you could say that she really loves Snapchat outside of school.
Oh yeah.
Snapchat all the time.
When we did
on the playground.
on the playground, when we did the
Experiment.
she just had her phone that she was like videotaping it like from all different angles.
And
She was like getting down.
And during our break, she'll like play on the play toys and like record herself like going backwards down like those bars. She'll be like, ah! I just love it. It's so funny. And she'll like videotape her friends, and she'll like her friends will be doing themselves. It's
Total
so
8th grade.
fun.
Like what? 400 Snapchats for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny.
But like so great. It's so fun to watch.
She's just so bubbly that
Yeah.
she's like
She really is.
Social butterfly.
oh yeah, they have a nickname for her. Oh, now I'm forgetting it.
The teacher?
The teachers do, because she's so like silly and bubbly. They like call her like they like somehow integrated like silly into her name. Like it's really clever, but like
Yeah.
but yeah, it was super clever when I'm forgetting it. But anyways, it's just like I don't know, it's fun to like get to know her
That's
that
cool.
way, just because she is so like
That's cool.
I
Yeah.
mean, I'm more likely gonna do my 2 case study students during mine. I don't know how I'm gonna.
you have 2?
Well, because one of them wasn't there when I went there in class, but I just want to have a backup in case.
Who are you having as backup?
T.
She doesn't come.
She doesn't come, but I was able. She used to be. She's still in the program,
Okay,
but she. So when we went there on last Friday, she was the only one there. Oh, so there were our other students, but
But
she's
they're
like she's the L1.
yeah. She's L2.
Really?
Yeah. We don't have any L1s.
Oh, L2.
She's L2, mine's L2, there are other ones L2, and then the others are
Oh, we have
L3.
L2, yeah.
Others are L3.
So I might just do her just in case, just to like throw in there.
Yeah, my case study student. So in our group, we've been having like some tiffs going on. Some like girl tiffs.
Middle school drama.
Middle school drama. Yeah. And last week, the 2 girls, the only other 2 girls that can be my case study student are also best friends. And they like weren't there, and so I'm worried that they're not gonna come back because maybe they don't feel welcome anymore, which I hope that they do, and so that makes me really nervous about my case study because all the other 2 are L3.
Yeah, they're very fluent.
So and then it's hers, so it's kind of like I don't know what I do, but I already have I'll have a lot of data for my student because I saw her in class and I've already done some assessment and I have like some written work that she's done.
So it's like you could just go back to like the school and like talk to her during school
if I have time to do that. I hope I do. Yeah.
I have to remember that when we do our solemn as well, that like if I do my solemn on my student, you're supposed to also do it on my student as well, so that we can like you can like find the what am I trying to say? You like if let's say I put a 4 and you put a 3, then you make it a 3.5, but then that would round down to a 3. Like we have to
average it.
average it.
Yeah.
There we go.
Those simple words are good. This morning.
Yeah.
So are we doing solemn assessments on each other's case study students? Is that what you're saying?
And your own. So that there's 2 sets of data.
Oh, where does it say that?
I don't know exactly where, but I read it.
I didn't think that was.
There was
I was
reread
reading
the
the
directions.
yeah, I was
Yeah.
reading the page, but I don't recall it right now.
Yeah, but there was like 4 different documents.
Maybe 2 more.
For solemn, yeah, there were.
Fine. Ask if we actually do have to do that because there was a ton of documents. So what that could have been.
40 minutes. Okay.
Um,
So do we?
need to do the solemn on our partner's case study student as well to find the average.
I like vaguely remember something.
But like sometimes it's hard to know because I don't know like when these documents, like they've just been used for a long time. Maybe she doesn't need that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But I
bet
really
you
really
were talking
pale in
about
the
it.
video.
We're going back into our class on Tuesday.
Yeah. That would be nice. Yeah.
Oh right. I look so pale compared to you guys.
Is the case study due dead week or finals week?
It's due June 3rd.
Dead week. Okay. Cool.
Do we have a final for this class? Or is our case study project our final?
I think
Tuesday.
that's our like final
Yeah.
project.
Yeah, I think that's.
And then what about for 434?
That's that newcomer
newcomer
kit
kit
write up
Okay.
Which I think should
analysis assessment.
no the
whatever.
transcription.
The transcription.
Yeah, and then there's like.
I like that new assignment.
I like it. I'm excited to do that.
I think it'll really benefit my case study assignment too. As long as my student comes.
Yeah, my problem with my case study is that he always says I don't know. Like he tried
No,
to.
mine says that.
So I don't know. So I have to try.
Yeah, my case study student was kind of like,
like shrugs like.
yeah, I don't know. And I'll be like, okay, well.
And he like sometimes he just looks at me weird like why are you trying to talk to me?
So does mine.
I'm trying to get an assignment done.
If I try to ask
Come on.
if I try to ask him anything, he just like either says I don't know or he just gives me a look like why are you asking me, or he says I don't want to talk about it and then he shuts down and I'm like,
Oh yeah, I remember.
yeah. He does not like talking about his home, like his
Well, maybe that's something that we should
his
ask
language for his phone. Yeah.
because it's like.
Ask the specialist about it.
Well, yeah, and maybe even like ask Wiggins on Tuesday when we go in because
many questions.
yeah, just like how we get past. I mean, like I know that we've worked on that a lot of like how to get past that language barrier, but still like
I
with
feel like
these-
sometimes I have trouble implementing.
I don't even know
Yeah.
if mine's a language barrier necessarily. I just don't think he wants to talk about it.
yeah,
Or
well,
increase
like that's
their
another
interest.
barrier. Like that could be like a
Just barriers in
social
general,
or
yeah.
just like getting past those.
Communication barriers.
Yeah, because I mean,
It's at
like
42.
we don't know them very well. Like if we really
Uh-huh.
think about it, we only see them once a week, and then
Or
we're
we see
seeing
them like 4 times.
yeah, plus the extra time that we've gone in. So it's just like we don't really like we don't know them like super well. So it's like
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like for me too, I don't open up that.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
not like
like-
our first quarter where we only saw them once a week, but we saw them all
the
day.
time. Yeah, exactly. So you could like really spend some time with them, but like this is only like pretty short.
Yeah, and you're supposed to be trying to teach a lesson at the same time, so it gets
Mhm.
confusing.
Yeah. So I think that just like talking to others and getting some advice on how to break those communication barriers for specifically assessments, because it's like we can kind of I don't know, for me like I can do that just talking to her about something that she likes or whatever, like what they did at school or something, like she'll tell me about that, but I think it's a little bit harder when you're asking those tougher questions that they're just like, well, I don't know. And it's like I asked mine, I'm like, well, what do you want to do like when you grow up, like what do you want to have as for a job? She was like, well, like I don't know. And then you could see that she was trying to think of it, and she's like, I just don't know how to say it. And like
Yeah.
she's one of those students that is okay with saying I don't know how to say it, where like I know a lot of students are not okay, like they just feel bad that they can't say it or whatever. So she I could still see that she was like trying to like work up like what she wanted to say as she was telling me like, well, I don't know how to say it. And then she finally was just like, well, it's kind of like a doctor for animals.
Oh, gotcha.
So it's like so she just didn't know that word.
Yeah.
And it's like I was just thinking like for some of your students, like if they just say like I don't know or shrug, like my student is more vocal
Yeah.
with like her like, well, I don't know, like I'm telling you that like I know what I want to say, but I don't know how to say it to you.
Yeah, my case
And
study
so-
does that. He'll be like, or he'll say, I don't know what the word for it is, and then I try to get him to like explain to me what it is, but that's when he shuts down because he doesn't want to like try. Like I don't know if it's too hard for him to try to explain what he's trying to say, so he's just like I don't know, I don't know, but I know he knows because he says right before that I don't know the word for it, and then and he gets frustrated if you can't understand what he's trying to say.
So it's like you know that they're thinking about it, but that I feel like that would be so aggravating to like you're talking to someone who's always is fluent in English, and then they're asking you these questions, and you're just like, I don't know how to say it. Like, stop asking me things that I don't know how to say. Like
I know what it is, I just can't get it out. And then that would upset me.
It's like you're tipping the iceberg.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like kind of like in a dream when you're like running and you like can't run away or something like that. Like it's just like you don't know why, but you just can't. And so I don't know. I just feel like if we're gonna create these assessments that are beneficial and that aren't frustrating to the students and that are I guess really beneficial in terms of like our piece of the information, then I think like understanding how to like wiggle our way into getting that is important. And I think that since we don't have experience really doing that one-on-one with students of a different language, that
trial
and error too, I think, because we can read about it as much as possible, but then when we're actually doing it, I think it's a whole different story.
Yeah. And then,
okay.
We have class soon.
Yeah.
We have to walk.
Should we just go for a few more minutes?
Yeah, we can go until it's been 15 minutes.
Okay. What else was there on here?
I feel like I just need to organize my interview questions, and maybe I'll start, when you're doing your lesson, I might pull my student out, if that's okay.
I thought we'd do that next week.
I like to get it done.
Yeah, Abby, when are you getting the clown book?
I don't want to wait
By
too long for it.
No, I mean the actual, our last week
Sunday.
we're supposed to do that.
That's just for last minute things that you need from your
Well,
student. I don't want to wait until.
And the wordless
I would
book.
hate for my student to show up this coming week and me not do it.
That's
and
when
then
we
have
do
to
the
not come
transcript.
again.
Oh, yeah.
So,
So,
Which is a form of
I
assessment.
can go with
Yeah,
you
but
too.
it's like for another class, so I don't want to like.
Sunday.
That's true. But I think you can put that into this, but yeah.
I'll grab it.
I don't know. I don't want to do the pull aside interview thing with my student. I don't think it'll work.
Have you heard back from
I plan on doing it. Just so you know, I'm planning on doing that. If that's okay.
Yeah, okay.
Let's see
If he shows up.
What have you guys already done in terms of informal ways of assessment? In terms of content support and stuff like that,
like the retelling a story assessment. That was what I did for the recycling one. It was the extension activity of recycling. I was talking to the students about how a water bottle gets recycled after it's done being used. So then at the end, I had each of my students take turns, describing the next step for the previous step that the other person said, and they got it in a way.
But your case study student wasn't there.
Yeah, but my case study student wasn't
there. And when I did my form of story retelling with my other one, my case study student wasn't there.
Nice.
So that's what kind of makes it hard with this.
Except for I had him retell the wordless book story to the other student who wasn't there, so I feel and that went fairly well. He remembered it.
He had his I don't knows in there too.
He had his I don't knows, but he got excited about saying it when he did know. And there was the word he didn't know that I kind of prompted him, and he got it. And so that was good.
Yeah.
I have some data on my students' written work.
Yeah, I have written work.
And just in general, understanding what I'm saying, she does all the time. It's just the response. That's hard.
It's just building the responses of their students. Having them elaborate.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's why I really want to I want to be able to do the book transcription with my case study student. Because I feel that'll really help me.
Yeah.
Alright, cool.
Okay.
We try.
Bye.